Your medical skills are unparalleled in the world. Even heads of state come to you for treatment, yet you never charge a single cent. Your only condition for treating others is that they must marry their daughter to you. The Bai family initially agreed readily, but once you spent 3 years without eating or drinking to cure the girl's illness, the family refused to acknowledge the deal. Only then did you see their ugly true faces. What a perfect example of crossing the bridge and then tearing it down. You nearly lost your life to save their daughter. They gave their word before the treatment, and now they are breaking the engagement. You stand there motionless, your face terrifyingly grim. It is unclear whether you are consumed by rage or if your body is simply too weak from the lingering cold poison. You cannot even react for a long time. Bai Ruoxi looks slightly ashamed, lowering her head in embarrassment. Beside her, Bai Yufu is even more awkward. This feeling of going back on one's word makes it hard for him to face anyone. Only Zhang Min remains indifferent. Regardless of whether you agree or not, Bai Yufu looks at you and says, "Don't worry, we won't treat you unfairly. How about we give you 100,000 yuan as a medical fee? That way, we're even." You remain silent, your face ashen, staring straight at this duplicitous family. Bai Ruoxi says nothing, suddenly turning mute. Zhang Min, seeing your gaze, immediately steps forward, blocking the line of sight between the two of you. "Don't say we're being unfair. You were the one trying to take advantage of someone in a crisis. Who demands marriage in exchange for medical treatment? Since you played that hand, why can't we deceive you? I'll add another 50,000. 150,000 is quite a lot. Think about it. How long would it take you to earn 150,000 with your medical practice?" Zhang Min talks incessantly, but you don't hear a word. Finally, annoyed by the questioning, you wave your hand. "Stop, I don't need your money." Hearing this, Zhang Min stands there with her hands on her hips. "Are you going to stubbornly cling to us? Don't think you're special just because you know some folk remedies. You bumpkin, don't you understand the law? There is no law that supports forcing a girl to marry you. I said I'd give you 150,000, take it or leave it. If you don't want it, you get nothing." Bai Ruoxi, feeling truly humiliated, tugs at her mother's hand, signaling her to stop being so aggressive. But Zhang Min ignores her, crossing her arms and cold snorting. "I'm not wrong. If you all are afraid to say it, I will." You take a deep breath and finally say flatly, "No need. Mr. Bai, Mrs. Zhang, and the young ladies. I misunderstood. You are right. How could I force a sale? It was just my wishful thinking, a toad lusting after swan meat. As long as you know it." Zhang Min snorts, her nose practically pointing to the sky. "Fine. Since the eldest Miss Bai is fine now, I will take my leave." After saying this, you clutch your chest, grit your teeth, and turn to leave with a haggard expression. Looking at your retreating back, Bai Ruoxi ultimately feels a pang of pity. Although she found it unacceptable that your hands took liberties with her during the treatment was indeed effective. She owes you. "Wait," Bai Ruoxi calls out. "If you think 150,000 is too little, we can negotiate. How about I double it to 300,000? At these words, Zhang Min's eyes widen in disbelief. "What? Ruoxi, are you crazy? He just poked you with a few needles and took advantage of you, and you're giving him 300,000? Mom, he really did cure me. Other doctors were helpless, weren't they?" Bai Ruoxi sighs. Zhang Min is stunned for a moment, then snorts at you. "You bastard." You don't look back, only offering a light reply. "No need. I will find a way to earn money myself. Besides, I didn't cure your illness. I only temporarily suppressed it. Farewell." After you finish speaking, you walk away, leaving the family dumbfounded and pale. They are frozen on the spot. Is this a joke? Clearly, Bai Ruoxi's pain is gone and she can walk, yet now you say the cold poison is only suppressed? Doesn't that mean the toxin will strike again? Bai Yufu is the most anxious. He shouts and tries to chase after you. Zhang Min gets frantic. "Old Bai, what are you doing? Didn't you hear him? The illness is only temporarily suppressed and might break out again. If we don't cut out the root of the disease, are we supposed to just watch Ruoxi suffer again?" Bai Yufu has a massive headache. They just finished tearing down the bridge and killing the donkey after it ground the grain, only to realize they had killed the goose that laid the golden eggs. You can imagine the embarrassment. Zhang Min rolls her eyes and pokes Bai Yufu's forehead. You're getting muddled in your old age. How do you know if he's telling the truth? The rest of the family looks bewildered. Mom, what do you mean? Bai Xiaotian asks curiously. Think about it. Use your brains. Zhang Min looks at the family and continues. That kid has been blackmailing us from the start, insisting on marrying Ruoxi to kill two birds with one stone. But we weren't stupid and tricked him. He's angry, so he's intentionally setting a trap to make us go back and beg him. Isn't that perfectly normal? Bai Xiaotian agrees. She nods and turns to Bai Roxy. Sister, tell the truth. When that kid was treating you before, did he take advantage of you? Bai Roxy is stunned. She doesn't know why her sister would bring up such an embarrassing matter. Does it matter? Bai Roxy gradually lowers her head, her face turning crimson. So he did! Bai Xiaotian says with certainty. Such a wretched person is capable of anything. He's very likely lying to us just to make you marry him. After she finishes speaking with such conviction, Bai Ruoxi begins to share the thought. They have no idea how much of a sacrifice you made to save her. In the end, it turned into a real-life version of the farmer and the viper. So that means we really aren't going to look for him? Bai Yufu asks. Zhang Min rolls her eyes. If you want to send your daughter into the tiger's mouth, then go find him. Bai Yufu can only give an embarrassed smile. Divine Dr. Chen, I beg of you, you must see Ruoxi. Nothing can happen to her. Oh, young Master Zhang, please. This old man's knowledge is shallow. I truly have never seen this illness before. At that moment, Zhang Lun drags Chen Bianque into the room. Zhang Lun keeps smiling flatteringly. Divine Dr. Chen, you must be joking. If even you can't do it, who else in the world can? As the saying goes, flattery never stinks. Chen Bianque nods, but he is at his wit's end. He really hasn't seen this disease, but he couldn't resist Zhang Lun's persistent begging and came just to go through the motions. In his heart, the beautiful Bai Ruoxi had already been handed a death sentence. Just as he steps into the ward, Chen Bianque keeps his hands behind his back. Where's the patient? Subconsciously, he glances at Bai Ruoxi, and his eyes nearly pop out of his head. Is she miraculously well? Chen Bianque can hardly believe his eyes. He rushes over and circles Bai Ruoxi. A miracle! Truly a miracle! Little girl, your complexion is rosy. You look no different from a normal person. Bai Ruoxi nods. Beside her, Bai Xiaotian laughs. Not only that, my sister can stand up now. Chen Bianque is full of disbelief until Bai Ruoxi stands up in front of him. The old man clicks his tongue in wonder. Girl, can I take your pulse? Bai Ruoxi nods and extends her fair hand. Upon taking the pulse, the old man is once again amazed. Divine Dr. Chen, how is my daughter? Is she cured? Zhang Min's family asks nervously. The pulse is completely normal. After Chen Bianque says this, the family heaves a massive sigh of relief. Zhang Min looks at Bai Yufu and says triumphantly, What did I tell you? That kid was lying. Bai Yufu can only smile awkwardly. Chen Bianque is curious about the kid they mentioned. Mrs. Bai, did you seek someone else's help before? Yes, a hypocritical fellow. Zhang Min tells the whole story from beginning to end. Chen Bianque frowns. This is simply outrageous. They say all parents have a heart for their children, but to threaten a girl into marriage while she is gravely ill? This person is the scum of Chinese medicine. Zhang Lun chimes in. Exactly. Auntie, you did the right thing. This kind of person needs to be taught a lesson. All right. Let's not talk about that. Now that my sister has recovered, our family should celebrate. How about a nice dinner tonight? Bai Xiaotian suddenly suggests. Everyone agrees immediately. Zhang Lun warmly invites them to the Sea Feast, a high-end 5-star restaurant. He will host the family and Chen Bianque for dinner. Bai Ruoxi cannot refuse the kind invitation and agrees. On the other side, you are currently testing needles on yourself. Next to you, a pot of herbal medicine is brewing. You still have cold poison in your body and need some medicine to clear it. You pour a bowl. The bitterness is truly unbearable, but you have to pinch your nose and drink it. Looking at the bowl in your hand, you mutter to yourself, Are you stupid? Always thinking the toad can eat swan meat, just looking for trouble. Girls in this society are so strange. When I was little, Mom taught me to be good to girls, that if you move them, they will treat you with the same heart. In the end, Li Jing married Jiang Yang and gave you a green hat, cheated. When I was little, Mom told me to be a responsible man and to be bold and thick-skinned when pursuing girls. In the end, the Bai family played you like a monkey. At this thought, you give a desolate smile, tilt your head back, and drain the bitter medicine. Just then, a Maybach drives by. Despite the heat, Bai Ruoxi is sitting by the window as they head to the banquet. She suddenly sees you sitting there drinking medicine. Her beautiful eyes widen in shock. Is he a street vendor? Bai Ruoxi points out the window and asks her sister, Bai Xiaotian. The family's car stops there, allowing them to leisurely admire your pathetic state. Hearing her sister, Bai Xiaotian looks over. I really didn't know. Previously, we just went to his house based on an address. I didn't expect this kid to be so destitute, running a street stall by the roadside. In the passenger seat, Zhang Min curls her lips in disdain. Good old Li, you actually found a wandering barefoot doctor. You were gambling with our daughter's life. Bai Yufu hangs his head and sighs. At the time we were at a dead end. We had to treat a dead horse as if it were alive. Luckily, our daughter is cured. If anything had happened, I would have fought you to the death. Zhang Min sits in the car with her arms crossed, fuming. Looking outside, she can't help but mock you. Look, this kid is pretending to be a divine doctor, yet he's sick himself and has to drink medicine. Maybe he just cured Ruoxi by sheer luck. The family looks over. Isn't it true? A doctor who is sick himself, not to mention how poor his family is. With his sickly state, he actually thought he could marry the eldest Miss Bai? It was a pipe dream. All right. Regardless of whether he truly cured her or if it was luck, he did cure our Ruoxi. Let's say less, Bai Yufu says, showing he still has some shred of decency. Bai Xiaotian looks at her sister. Bai Ruoxi has been staring out the window, her beautiful brows tightly knit. Bai Xiaotian can't help but ask, Sister, what are you thinking? Bai Ruoxi sighs. I'm just thinking, if he's this poor, why didn't he want the 300,000? Ha! That's simple. He wants to be the toad that eats the swan. If he took the 300,000, it would only be 300,000. But if he married into the Bai family, he'd get everything. Zhang Min agrees with Bai Xiaotian's words and adds sarcastically, the kid is smart, but we aren't stupid. Why give him 300,000? There's no way he's marrying my daughter. The family chatters away in the front car. In the car behind, Zhang Lun is driving his Maserati with Chen Bianque. He happens to look out the window and is stunned. He's running a street stall here? Chen Bianque is startled. He turns his head and is instantly struck by your appearance. He is the one who cured Bai Ruoxi? Yeah, I didn't expect this kid to be a barefoot doctor running a stall, Zhang Lun says dismissively. Chen Bianque's heart begins to pound. A barefoot doctor? He was defeated by a barefoot doctor? The convoy soon leaves, but a deep impression is left on Chen Bianque's heart. Having studied Chinese medicine since childhood, he has practiced for decades. His parents named him Bianque, after the legendary doctor, showing the high hopes they had for him. He did not disappoint and became quite famous in the capital, an authority in the field. Previously, he felt ashamed that he couldn't treat Bai Ruoxi. When he heard someone else had cured her and demanded her hand in marriage, he thought you were either an old lecher or a descendant of a prestigious medical family. Some medical families indeed possess lost prescriptions. If you happen to have one, it would be understandable. In other words, Chen Bianque believed you had a significant background. But now that he has seen you with his own eyes, he feels particularly uneasy. How did a young, wandering barefoot doctor cure that disease? Once this thought takes hold, Chen Bianque cannot let it go. He can't even finish his meal, making an excuse that something came up at home and leaving hurriedly. He catches a taxi and heads straight back to where you were. By now, the sun has set. You have finished your day at the stall and are packing up to go home. Suddenly, a figure stands before your stall, staring straight at you. You look up, frowning. You are! Chen Bianque looks at you with a complex expression and sighs. You are the one who cured the Bai family's eldest daughter? You are stunned for a moment, then nod blankly. Chen Bianque remains perplexed. He cups his hands in a respectful gesture. May I be so bold as to ask who your master is? My father, you say, mentioning your father's name, then lower your head to continue packing. The old man searches his memory repeatedly, but cannot find any famous doctor by that name in the world of Chinese medicine. Young friend, can we talk? Chen Bianque has developed an immense interest in you. You smile. But I'm closing up to go home for dinner. No matter, no matter. This old man would like to host you. Please, give me the honor of joining me for dinner. You think about it and eventually nod in agreement. The two of you sit down in a nearby small restaurant, ordering a few dishes and a pot of tea. As you talk, Chen Bianque intentionally weaves in topics of Chinese medicine. The more you talk, the more shocked he becomes. This person is no ordinary talent. Chen Bianque has practiced medicine for most of his life, but some of the treatment plans you mention are things he has never even heard of. At the most brilliant points, the old man cannot help but slap the table in admiration. Wonderful, simply wonderful, to think it could be treated this way. After a few cups of tea, Chen Bianque remembers Bai Ruoxi. Young friend, with your skills, why would you worry about finding a wife? Why did you have to threaten the Bai family? Chen Bianque almost says outright that your character is terrible. With such skills, why use such underhanded tactics? You only give a bitter smile and do not answer. Chen Bianque feels awkward, assuming you liked Bai Ruoxi and took the chance to try and marry her. Love is normal, but it should be mutual. If you force it, there's a problem with your character. Thus, Chen Bianque advises earnestly, a doctor must have medical ethics. Without ethics, no matter how skilled you are just a quack. He really doesn't want to see such a talented young man go astray. You smile bitterly, take a sip of tea and say politely, Elder Chen, you don't understand. It is precisely because I have medical ethics that I propose to marry the eldest Miss Bai. How so? Chen Bianque asks, even more confused. Does Elder Chen know about cold poison? You don't answer but ask him instead. I have heard of it, but my studies are incomplete. I only have a superficial understanding. Chen Bianque smiles awkwardly. He has only seen it mentioned briefly in medical books, with no detailed descriptions or treatments. Elder Chen surely doesn't know how to cure this cold poison then? Chen Bianque smiles sheepishly and takes a sip of tea. You sigh and hold out your hand. Elder Chen, can you take my pulse? Though he doesn't understand why you want him to check your pulse, he complies. As soon as he touches your pulse, he is shocked. Your symptoms. Why are they so similar to Miss Bai's previous condition? He can't understand it. You cured her, yet you ended up with the cold poison yourself? Chen Bianque looks at you with a face full of confusion. This was left behind from treating Miss Bai. You nod, and then explain the transfer method for treating cold poison. Listening to this, Chen Bianque's face turns red with embarrassment. To think such a method existed between a man and a woman. After learning the full truth, Chen Bianque feels a deep sense of guilt. You were not related to her. If not for love, who would go to such lengths? It is truly a pity for the Bai family. They had such a dragon son-in-law at their door and treated him like mud. With this thought, Chen Bianque immediately wants to recruit you. Quote, young friend, what are your plans for the future? I'll take it one step at a time. You withdraw your hand and start eating. This old man has some connections. The director of the Linjiang City Chinese Medicine Hospital is my student. If you're interested, I can introduce you. Forget it. Thank you, Elder Chen. I lost my freedom before. Now I'm free to run my stall, and I think it's quite good. The more Chen Bianque looks at you, the more he likes you. You are skilled, well-spoken, and yet foolish in your conduct. He wants to recruit you even more. His eyes dart around, and he says, young friend, I have a granddaughter. She has studied medicine with me since she was a child and loves saving people. I think you two would get along. Chen Bianque is too embarrassed to say the rest. He intends for you to meet her so you might become his grandson-in-law. But after your experiences with Li Jing and Li Yongqi, you've been hurt by women and aren't considering marriage for now. You politely decline. Chen Bianque is saddened, nearly beating his chest in regret. You two feel like old friends who met too late, talking extensively before finally parting reluctantly as it gets late. When you return home, it is past 8 p.m. A black Mercedes is parked right at your door. An elegant, long-legged beauty in a red dress is leaning against the car, looking around. Seeing you return, she heaves a sigh of relief. You frown. By Ruokshi? Why is she at your house? Ruokshi is a great beauty. She wears a red dress and gold-rimmed high heels. The two of you stand there looking at each other. She is a bit uneasy, her face slightly flushed. You're back? You reply flatly, what are you doing here? Bai Roxy opens the car door and pulls out a heavy black bag. I'm here to give you money. I don't want to owe you a favor. Please take it. It stings a little. To be honest, Bai Roxy is very beautiful, and your heart flutters a bit when you see her. But you also know she looks down on you. No need, miss. Take the money back. You reject her gift directly. This causes Bai Roxy to misunderstand. She frowns and advises earnestly, feelings cannot be forced. I'm grateful you saved me, but you should know that gratitude doesn't mean I have to marry you. Do you understand? You remain silent. Take it. Consider it my thanks to you. Don't leave a knot in my heart, okay? Bai Roxy hands the money over again. You take a deep breath, finally letting go. You smile and say, Miss Bai, you're right. Gratitude doesn't equal marriage. I apologize for my previous brash thoughts. But you really don't need to give me money. Bai Roxy is fuming as she prepares to leave, but then she grits her teeth. Are you just being stubborn? If so, you shouldn't be. This is what you earned. Take the money, open a small clinic, and once you've made something of yourself, you can find a good wife. I'm not being stubborn, miss. There's no need. You can only be stubborn with someone who cares about you, right? You have no relation to her, so how could there be stubbornness? I just want to tell you, the illness is only suppressed, not cured. I won't accept a reward I haven't earned. I cannot take this money. Bai Roxy freezes. Not cured? Only suppressed? Doesn't that mean it will return? But Chen Bianque said she was fine. Her mother and sister said you were lying. But what if you aren't lying? Bai Roxy lowers her head, bites her lip, and after a long silence asks, If I relapse, will you still save me? I'm sorry, I won't, you say coldly. Then turn and walk into your house. Looking at your back? Bai Roxy feels very uneasy. But she also knows she has no right to force you to save her. Regardless, I still owe you a favor. If you really won't take the money, she pulls a business card from her pocket and hands it over. If you run into any trouble in Linjiang City, you can find me. I will definitely help you. You look at the card in her hand and curl your lips. As the saying goes, one doesn't hit a smiling face, especially one that comes to offer help. Fine, then I'll thank you in advance. You take the card. Bai Roxy finally feels a weight lift from her heart and drives away. You look at the card, give a self-deprecating laugh, shove it in your pocket, and go inside for dinner. Meanwhile, after returning home, Chen Bianque is still ruminating on the day's events. He can't understand how someone so young could be so skilled. Just then, a sweet voice calls out. Chen Bianque's frown disappears, replaced by a smile. Ruoliu, while Grandpa was away, did you memorize your medical texts? A beautiful, playful girl stands there, smiling sweetly. Of course, I've memorized them all by heart. Chen Ruoliu was born into a medical family, and Chen Bianque has been strict with her since she was young. Now, she is already famous in the industry and is seen as his successor. Usually he would test her, but today he just shakes his head and sighs, saying nothing. Chen Ruoliu is stunned. Grandpa, what's wrong? Did something happen today? Chen Bianque sits on the sofa and sighs. Ruoliu, I met a young man today. His medical skills are extraordinary. He cured a disease that even I couldn't treat. Chen Ruoliu's mouth drops open in surprise. Her grandfather has always been an idol-like figure to her, for a young man to cure something he couldn't. Is he a young master from a prestigious family? Chen Bianque shakes his head. He's a barefoot doctor running a stall on Xi'an Street. Chen Ruoliu is shocked to her core. How could her grandfather, the famous Northern Bianque of the capital, lose to a wandering quack? And a young one at that. In an instant, her worldview is shaken. Chen Bianque sighs again but says no more, waving her away as he goes to rest. Chen Ruoliu pouts and mutters to herself, How could Grandpa say that? That kid must be a fraud. Grandpa said he has a stall on Xi'an Street. I have to go see for myself. The next morning, you go to Xi'an Street as usual and set up your stall. As per your routine, you hold a medical book in your hands. As you read, sleepiness begins to wash over you. Suddenly, you are startled awake by a crisp voice. Chen Ruoliu walks straight up to you and slaps the table. So it's you! You won! My grandfather, Chen Bianque, was busy and didn't pay attention to her, continuing to sleep with a book over his head. Chen Ruoliu felt a bit slighted and snatched the book off your head. Taking a closer look, it was actually the Compendium of Materia Medica. Get up! Let's have a duel! You are helpless and have no choice but to open one eye and glance at her. How do you want a duel? Chen Ruoliu's eyes rolled around. Since we are comparing medical skills, we should find a patient in a fair and square manner, then each treat them to see who can cure them. What do you think? Fine, I don't care. But the people around here are mostly old men and women looking for treatment for bone hyperplasia or lumbar disc herniation. Even if we wanted to compare skills, we probably won't find the right kind of patient. At these words, Chen Ruoliu gave a faint, smug smile. That's easy. The director of the City Hospital of Traditional Chinese Medicine is my grandfather's student. Let's go there to duel, and we can't pick common patients. That wouldn't show off my skills. Chen Ruoliu, possessing a sudden burst of courage, actually wanted to pick difficult and complicated cases to treat. You nod non-committally. Subsequently, the two of you catch a taxi and head straight for the City Hospital of TCM. Upon entering, Chen Ruoliu heads straight for the director's office. Hearing that his teacher's granddaughter had arrived, Director Zhang Mao rushed out. The two shared the inevitable pleasantries. Rouleau, why are you here? Uncle Zhang, I'm here for an internship. I need to find a few patients. Hearing Chen Ruoliu's words, Zhang Mao was overjoyed and began to flatter her. For the teacher's own granddaughter to help treat our patients is a blessing for our hospital. Zhang Mao's eyes landed on you. He frowned and said jokingly, Look at you, Ruoliu, you've grown into a big girl. Is this your boyfriend? This sentence stunned both you and Chen Ruoliu. Chen Ruoliu thought for a long time but didn't know how to introduce you. Finally, she slapped her leg and gave up on explaining. Ugh, I don't know how to explain it. Anyway, quickly find us a patient with a difficult condition. The two of us are going to compete. Hearing this, Zhang Mao realized that this, quote, bumpkin, was not Chen Ruoliu's boyfriend, but her opponent. Comparing Chinese medicine with Chen Bianque's granddaughter, isn't that just seeking humiliation? But since his master's granddaughter had spoken, the director had to give her face. Then follow me. He led the way, and Chen Ruoliu signaled for you to follow. However, after searching around, Chen Ruoliu felt the patients were too ordinary. Cases even Zhang Mao could treat. How could that showcase the skills of Chen Bianque's granddaughter? Chen Ruoliu was getting a headache. Was today's contest going to fall through? Just as she was at a loss, a sudden, violent noise drew everyone's attention. Call your director here. What kind of garbage hospital is this? You're telling me you can't find out what's wrong? Since Zhang Mao was the director, he naturally had to go check it out. When they arrived, they saw a man in a black suit shouting, If anything happens to the old lady, I'll make sure this hospital pays dearly. Zhang Mao frowned. Making a scene in a hospital is common, but making a scene in a TCM hospital was likely picking the wrong place. He looked at a female doctor nearby and asked, Xiao Chen, what's the situation? The doctor's surname Chen was pale with fright. Seeing the director, she quickly explained, quote, This group brought an old lady for treatment. We really can't see what's wrong. We told them to use professional equipment for an exam, but they refused and started making a scene. Zhang Mao was displeased and looked at the man in the black suit. This is a TCM hospital. Stop causing trouble or I'll call security. If he hadn't said that, it might have been fine, but the man in black almost laughed until he cried, Director Zhang, right? Our Master Bao is an old acquaintance of yours. Zhang Mao froze, trying to recall who Master Bao was. The next moment, his eyes widened in shock. Xu Chunbao! The man in black sneered. Exactly! It was obvious that Zhang Mao's whole body shivered. He lowered his head and asked tremblingly, The patient is Master Bao's mother? After the man in black confirmed it, Zhang Mao lost all his previous arrogance. He could only reply with a forced smile, "My employees are inexperienced. Brother, quickly take me to see her." It seemed this Xu Chunbao was a major figure. Just at the door, there were several bodyguards in identical black suits. If the old lady had so many guards just for a trip out, how grand must Xu Chunbao's own presence be? Soon, Zhang Mao followed the man in black inside. Chen Ruoliu tugged at you, and just as the two of you were about to follow, the two bodyguards at the door raised their hands to block you. "No unauthorized personnel!" Quote, "I am Chen Bianche's granddaughter." "What do you mean, unauthorized?" Chen Ruoliu put her hands on her hips and snorted. "Who hasn't heard of the divine physician?" The bodyguard's response actually made you laugh out loud. Chen Ruoliu had no choice but to turn to Zhang Mao and shout, "Uncle Zhang!" Zhang Mao, who had been so scared by the black suit that he forgot about the contest, turned back to look at you and Chen Ruoliu. He tapped his head and walked over quickly. "These are our own people. They are also doctors with very high skills. Please let them through." The bodyguards were suspicious. You and Chen Ruoliu looked like greenhorns. How could you treat illness? They simultaneously turned to the man in black inside the room, who seemed to be the leader. The man in black nodded silently, and they finally let you through. Once inside, the two looked closely. An old woman with an ashen face and tight lips was lying on the bed. She seemed unable to breathe and was wearing an oxygen mask. The man in black didn't say a word, but made a hand gesture. Zhang Mao was very nervous. His hand was trembling as he reached out to take the old lady's pulse. He secretly groaned. The pulse was chaotic. Zhang Mao finally understood why the hospital doctors wanted her to do tests. It was an unwritten rule. They don't take patients who are on the verge of death for fear they will die in the hospital, which is bad for business and reputation. This old lady was likely at death's door. Unless the kings of hell intervened, who could pull her back? But thinking of Xu Chunbao, Zhang Mao was miserable. If his mother died here, his life would be very difficult from now on. "Well, can you treat the old lady or not?" the bodyguard urged. Zhang Mao didn't know how to answer. He thought to himself, "Treat her? It's hard to say if she'll even survive the day. What's wrong with you? Can't you say something?" The bodyguard was furious, stepping forward to grab Zhang Mao by the collar and cursing menacingly. Zhang Mao's forehead was covered in sweat. Her pulse is very chaotic. She's in critical condition. I suspect it's a very serious case of asthma. Suddenly, a young girl's voice rang out. The man in black let go of Zhang Mao and turned to look. Chen Ruoliu had already stepped forward and sat beside the old lady to take her pulse. "So how specifically do we treat it?" The bodyguard didn't care about the diagnosis, only the cure. "Don't worry. As long as I apply acupuncture, her asthma symptoms will subside within a few days. Then, you should hurry and transfer her to the Western Medicine Hospital." After Chen Ruoliu finished, the man in black breathed a sigh of relief. He was afraid it would be too late to transfer her. If anything happened to the old lady, he wouldn't be able to explain it. The bodyguard glared at Zhang Mao and spat. "You old director, you're not even as good as a little girl." Zhang Mao was helpless. Who said a director's medical skills must be brilliant? He hadn't seen patients in years. "Girl, hurry and use the needles!" Seeing the old lady in such pain, the bodyguard couldn't help but shout. Ruoliu nodded and took out her silver needles. Just as she was about to start, you suddenly called out from behind, "Wait, it's not asthma!" Your sudden shout stunned everyone. They all turned to glare at you. "Not asthma? Then what is it?" Chen Ruoliu asked. "It's very dangerous. It's cardiomegaly, enlarged heart, and it has reached the point of heart failure." After you spoke, Chen Ruoliu was furious. "You're talking nonsense. You didn't even take a pulse and you dare to declare heart failure? This is extremely irresponsible to the patient." You smiled. Traditional Chinese medicine emphasizes observation, listening, questioning, and palpation. Looking at her complexion, plus the fact that she's a bit overweight and her son is wealthy, the current symptoms are almost identical to a patient I treated before. I am certain it is heart failure caused by cardiomegaly. At this critical moment, the bodyguard was in a dilemma. One said one thing, the other said another. Is it heart failure or asthma? Give me a straight answer. Chen Ruoliu put her hands on her hips and glared at you. She was about to blurt out, "Of course my word is final. I'm Chen Bianche's granddaughter." But before she could, Zhang Mao's eyes rolled. He pulled Chen Ruoliu back and said with a smile, "This brother is an expert. How can a little girl's word count?" The bodyguard didn't know what they were up to, but thought those words made sense. He nodded and looked at you. "Then hurry up and get to work!" You sighed. "Actually, I can't cure cardiomegaly either. She would need a bypass. But at her age, the risk is too high. I can only extend her life at most." The man in the suit frowned but nodded. "I'll leave it to you, little brother." You didn't say another word, pulled out your silver needles, and began to work. General Liu tried to speak several times, but was held back by Zhang Mao. She grew anxious. Although this was a contest, if something went wrong, it could be fatal. "Uncle Zhang, why are you holding me back?" Zhang Mao's heart was racing. He leaned in and whispered, "Ruoliu, listen to me. Don't move and don't speak. You might not know who Shu Chunbao is. He is the underground emperor of Linjiang City. If something goes wrong, neither you nor I can take the blame." At these words, Chen Ruoliu's heart jumped. The big-time thug Shu Chunbao? In that moment, she realized Zhang Mao didn't want to get in trouble, nor did he want her to. Now that you had jumped in, he was going to use you as a scapegoat. Chen Ruoliu felt very uncomfortable, looking at Zhang Mao with disdain for his behavior. She also understood that for people of such high status, treating them was the most difficult. In the past, being an imperial physician was a high-risk occupation. The emperor could order your execution if you couldn't save his favorite concubine or son. Chen Ruoliu was scared. No matter how powerful her grandfather was, he couldn't stop someone like Shu Chunbao. Thinking this, she felt a strange pity for you. This kid was likely not long for this world. Your movements were fast, like a magic trick. Your hands flashed as needle after needle went in. Zhang Mao and Chen Ruoliu were dumbfounded, questioning if you even knew medicine. How could you be so reckless? This was a dying old lady. One wrong needle could be the straw that breaks the camel's back. They watched with hearts in their throats, but your operations were like a dance on the edge of death's blade. One slip and it would be over. Finally, all the needles were in. You exhaled heavily and wiped the sweat from your forehead. The others seemed to be affected by your tension and also breathed a sigh of relief. The man in the suit looked at you. "Dr. Lin, is the old lady okay now?" The old lady still lay there with an ashen face and purple lips. Nothing seemed to have changed. You nodded and wiped your hands. "Done. You can call an ambulance to transfer her to the city hospital." The man in the suit signaled to his subordinate. He couldn't leave. He had to keep an eye on you. If something happened, he couldn't let you run. The subordinate nodded and left to handle it. Soon, a siren sounded outside. Several people arrived to put the old lady on a stretcher and move her. Everyone turned their eyes toward the old lady. It was truly a miracle. Her face began to turn rosy and her lips regained their color. The man in the suit finally breathed a sigh of relief and cupped his hands. "Dr. Lin, I thank you on behalf of Master Bao. I will visit you in person to show my gratitude another day." You nodded as a formality. He hurriedly led the people out to escort the old lady to the hospital. In the ward, only Zhang Mao and Chen Ruoliu remained. They stood there awkwardly, rubbing their hands and looking at you with newfound respect. They had wanted to make you a scapegoat, but hadn't expected you to actually have such skill. Now, all the credit belonged to you. "Fine. I didn't expect you to actually have talent. I'm convinced. You are indeed impressive." Chen Ruoliu walked over and slapped your shoulder broadly, laughing awkwardly and unnaturally. You looked at her while packing your needles and sneered. "I recall someone asked me here for a duel and said if she lost, she would never marry. Otherwise, she'd never find a husband for the rest of her life." The unexpected slap in the face made Chen Ruoliu freeze, her face turning crimson. She lowered her head and said grumpily, "Who says you're definitely right?" "I still say I'm right. We have to wait for the results from the hospital before we can truly see who won. You just can't afford to lose." On the other side, in a special care ward, a violent voice rang out. "Mom!" A man with slick-back hair and a suit rushed in. The surrounding men in black suits all nodded and called out, "Master Bao!" The newcomer was Shu Chunbao. His father died when he was very young, and his mother raised him with great hardship. He fought hard in his youth to achieve his success today. Now that he was successful, he felt he owed everything to his mother. He was a famous example of filial piety in Linjiang City. He was supposed to negotiate a contract worth tens of millions today, but upon hearing his mother was in critical condition, he dropped everything and rushed over. Money can be earned again, but a mother cannot be replaced. Fortunately, when he arrived, the old lady was sitting there smiling and peeling an orange. "Look at you, why are you so flustered? Mom is fine. It's nothing." Xu Chunbao exhaled heavily and nodded. That's good, that's good." After saying this, he stood up, walked to the man in the black suit, and slapped him hard. The man's lip bled, but he had to stand there respectfully. "Useless! How are you taking care of the old lady? If anything happens to my mother, none of you will live." "I'm sorry, Master Bao," the man in black said politely. All right. Why are you hitting Abiao? If it weren't for his quick handling, your mother would be dead already," the old lady shouted. Xu Chunbao was stunned and asked what happened. Abiao bowed and explained the whole story. When he heard that if Divine Dr. Lin hadn't handled it properly to buy time for emergency treatment, his mother would have died before reaching the hospital, Xu Chunbao broke into a cold sweat. At that moment, the old lady's primary doctor came over and explained the condition. Her heart was enlarged due to her lifestyle, and she needed a bypass. However, the success rate was only 50%. Abiao noted that Divine Dr. Lin had already predicted this and suggested finding him for further treatment. Xu Chunbao thought this made sense and told Abiao to prepare a generous gift to see Divine Dr. Lin. Meanwhile, I had just returned to my street stall and was preparing to pack up. Unexpectedly, a Maybach stopped right in front of me, honking its horn desperately. I glanced at the people in the car and ignored them, packing my things and turning to leave. A middle-aged man anxiously opened the car door and ran out. "Divine Dr. Lin! Ruoxi's cold poison has flared up again. Today she said she's feeling very cold again. Please help me save my daughter." The man was Li Yufu. Li Yongqi's symptoms weren't supposed to flare up so soon. I turned away and said, "Sorry, I won't." When I was treating Bai Ruoxi before, every single one of them looked down on me. They intentionally used marriage to trap me, and once she was cured, they immediately turned their backs on me. Who would have thought that Bai Ruoxi's symptoms would flare up again so quickly? The Bai family ran to many people for help and even invited Chen Bianque. However, Chen Bianque's answer was very blunt. He was powerless against this illness, and only Fang Yuan could treat it. Having no other choice, for the sake of his daughter, Bai Yufu had to be thick-skinned and come back again. The result was predictable. I refused on the spot. Bai Yufu looked pained. Seeing me walking away, he chased after me frantically. "Divine Dr. Fang! I apologize to you for my family's previous offenses. Please have mercy and save my Ruoxi. I'll give you as much money as you want." "Huh?" I laughed coldly, looking at Bai Yufu and saying bluntly, "I won't believe a single punctuation mark from your Bai family anymore. I'm sorry, Miss Bai's life is precious, but my own life isn't grass either." Bai Yufu was devastated. Just then, Zhang Min and Bai Xiaodian, who had been waiting in the car for the results, could no longer take it and ran down. Zhang Min roared in anger. "Fang Yuan, you just want to sit there and raise the price, don't you? Name your price. You didn't want the 300,000 last time. Now are you satisfied? 3 million, flat price. Take my daughter." Bai Xiaotian also complained, "Fang Yuan, how can you be this way? Do you really have to use this as a demand? Do you really insist that my sister marry you for this to work?" The family was bickering on the street, and many people were watching. With a cold face, I ignored them and turned to leave. The mother and daughter panicked, each grabbing one of my sleeves and shouting, "You aren't allowed to leave! Things haven't been made clear." I was truly annoyed. "Is this ever going to end?" I snapped, seeing that I dared to scold her. Zhang Min's temper flared. "How can you be so shameless? Just because the girl won't marry you, you won't treat her? Everyone come judge this. Is this how a doctor behaves? This guy is totally devoid of virtue." Her shouting actually worked. Quite a few people gathered around. When asked what was going on, Zhang Min added salt and vinegar to the story. "This kid has no conscience. He treated a girl, and during the process he took liberties and touched her. After it was over, he demanded she marry him, or he wouldn't provide the cure. Hearing this, the angry crowd started cursing me as a quack. What kind of moral character is this? In broad daylight, there's actually such a shameless person. The crowd unanimously sided with the mother and daughter, calling me a beast. Fuming with rage, I roared, "I was saving a life! Besides, you are the ones who begged me for treatment. How can you bite the hand that feeds you? Fine. Since you say you're saving a life, then you should treat her to the end, stopping halfway. What do you call that?" Zhang Min seized the opportunity to blackmail me. I was instantly enraged, looking at this shameless family. Did I charge your family a single cent for the treatment? That silenced them immediately. Did your daughter's symptoms not improve? She only had 3 days to live, and I rescued her without taking a penny. And now your family is framing me? After my sudden outburst, the onlookers were stunned. So he didn't take any money? And he really did rescue the person? This was awkward as hell. Zhang Min immediately recovered. I am the wife of the president of the Great Era Group. Would my family frame a poor bumpkin like you? Are you joking? After she said this, the crowd realized, yeah, they're so rich, why would they need to frame anyone? It must be the kid's fault. He's a quack! I was truly furious. I jerked my hand away and roared, "No matter what you say, if I say I won't treat her, I won't!" Zhang Min crossed her arms with a haughty look. If it weren't for the fact that you have some skill, would I have come to beg you so humbly? You poor wretch, you really think you're something special now? Your tail is up in the sky. Bai Yufu stood behind her without saying a word. Bai Xiaotian felt a bit embarrassed, thinking her mother might have gone too far. This was too much of a slap in the face. Zhang Min pointed at my nose and cursed, "Now I'm giving you 2 choices. Either cure my daughter, or I'll send you to the police station. Take your pick." I said nothing, narrowing my eyes and staring straight at Zhang Min. Zhang Min didn't budge an inch. "What are you looking at? You poor wretch, do you think you can stand against the Bai family? Looking at your pathetic state, you couldn't even afford a lawyer in court. You'd better just go treat the illness honestly." People around were also jeering. "Just go treat her honestly. The Bai family has been very merciful, giving you another chance to be a decent human being. People are like that. When they see the Bays are rich, they suck up to them. When they see I'm poor, they all kick me while I'm down." I was in a difficult spot, but just then, beep, 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 a sudden, urgent series of horn blasts rang out from ahead. A man leaned his head out and roared, "Get out of the way! Don't block the path!" Everyone was stunned, turning to see who was so arrogant. This one looked scared them out of their wits. A grand procession of Mercedes-Benz cars whistled past. Looking at those sequential license plates, it was actually the motorcade of the underground emperor Xu Chunbao. Xu Chunbao was far too famous in Linjiang City. Everyone was so terrified they didn't dare act up and quickly cleared the road. You can provoke a gentleman, but don't provoke a villain. They were afraid. While everyone was wondering why the famous Master Bao would appear here, they were even more shocked when the luxury motorcade stopped directly in front of my stall. With a swish, the car doors opened in unison, and a vast number of black-suited men walked out, standing there respectfully. Ibiao ran over and opened one of the Mercedes doors. A man wearing a suit with slicked-back hair and a cigar in his mouth stepped out. Xu Chunbao ignored the crowd, walked straight to me, and asked, "Are you Fang Yuan?" After he said this, the onlooker started gloating. This poor wretch is really interesting. He offended a real estate tycoon, Bai Yufu, and now he's offended the underground emperor Xu Chunbao. I'm afraid he'll die a very ugly death. Bai Yufu is a legitimate businessman and wouldn't do much to me, but offending Xu Chunbao? He'd likely end up in a wheelchair or at the bottom of the river. I looked at Xu Chunbao and nodded. Just as everyone was waiting for the show, a miracle happened. Xu Chunbao laughed loudly, stepped forward to embrace me, and said, "Big brother, I've had a hard time finding you. When I went to your house, your old man said you were still at the stall. I had to ask for directions to get here." What? The crowd was completely stunned. Xu Chunbao wasn't there to find trouble. He was there to treat me like a brother. This was hard for anyone to process. "Brother, I'm not here today without a reason." I've already prepared a banquet at Wanhua Tower. You must give me some face. Let's eat and talk. How about it? Xu Chunbao was extremely polite to me since he needed my help. I nodded. I'm a bit tied up here. Xu Chunbao froze, only then noticing the crowd harassing me. He frowned, a cold light flashing in his eyes. Oh, is someone looking for trouble with my brother, Xu Chunbao? The words scared the people around so much they all scrambled back a step, fearing they'd be implicated. With them retreating, Zhang Min, Bai Xiaotian, and Bai Yufu were left standing out conspicuously. Xu Chunbao sneered at the three of them. I was wondering who it was. Isn't this Chairman Bai of the Great Era Group? Bai Yufu smiled awkwardly, sweat breaking out on his forehead. Legitimate businessmen like them were most afraid of dealing with these types. Quote, my brother Fang Yuan. How has he offended you? Zhang Min was stunned and was about to open her mouth to speak, but Bai Yufu hurriedly pulled her back. He said with a forced smile, it's a misunderstanding. Just a misunderstanding. Zhang Min was stifled, her face looking as ugly as if she'd eaten a dead fly. Xu Chunbao nodded and said coldly, it better be. I'm putting the word out here now. Brother Fang Yuan saved my mother's life. Whoever looks for trouble with him is looking for trouble with me, Xu Chunbao. After he said this, a cold breath was drawn by the crowd. Everyone looked at me differently now. This loser has such good luck to connect with Xu Chunbao. After dropping the threat, Xu Chunbao turned back to a bright smile. Brother Fang Yuan, please? I glanced at the ugly faces of the bays, said nothing, and sat directly in the Mercedes. I left without looking back while the crowd gossiped. The Bai family was as embarrassed as could be. Bai Yufu felt humiliated and quickly pulled his wife and daughter into the car and fled. In the car, Zhang Min was still complaining. Old Bai, what are you doing? It's just one Xu Chunbao. Why are you so afraid of him? Bai Xiaotian was also confused. Dad, we were too cowardly just now. Bai Yufu's face was ashen. What do you women know? He's the kind of person a legitimate businessman can't afford to offend. He'll send people to harass the sales office tomorrow and smash the machines at the construction site the day after. Do you still want to do business? Zhang Min was silenced. Bai Xiaotian snorted. I don't believe it. Can he really act so lawlessly? Bai Yufu's face was full of helplessness. On the other side, inside the five-star hotel, a lavish banquet was set. Looking at the table, I smiled bitterly. Mr. Xu, this is too extravagant. Xu Chunbao laughed. You are my honored guest. How is this extravagant? Brother Fang Yuan, I'm older than you, so why don't you call me Brother Bao? All right, Brother Bao. I assume you're here about the old lady's condition? I didn't beat around the bush. Xu Chunbao nodded. Quote, my mom's heart is failing, and they say she needs a bypass. Brother Fang Yuan, you know more about medicine than I do. What's your suggestion? Actually, I suggest conservative treatment. What kind of treatment? Usually a light diet, less oily or spicy food, and supplemented with Chinese medicine. I believe she can last a long, long time. I can't guarantee exactly how long, but passing away peacefully at an old age is no problem. Xu Chunbao breathed a heavy sigh of relief. He snapped his fingers at a Biao, who brought up a black leather suitcase. He opened it, and it was full of money. Brother Bao, what is this? I asked. Brother Fang Yuan, there's 1 million here. Please don't refuse. My mom raised me with a lot of hardship. She's my only relative. Saving her is like saving my own life. Biao also chimed in. That's right, Dr. Fang. It's a small token of Master Bao's appreciation. Take it. The old lady will still need your treatment in the future. I sighed and looked at Xu Chunbao. Brother Bao, if you really consider me a brother, take the money back. Brother Fang Yuan, you? To be honest, I was once in a labor camp because of a woman. Xu Chunbao was stunned. I told him the whole story. He was enraged. Damn it! There's actually such a shameless person? Xu Chunbao gave Biao a look. Biao, make arrangements. Biao agreed immediately. But I grabbed him. Wait, Brother Bao? I thank you, but feelings can't be forced. I let go and took a sip of wine. I'm telling you this not for sympathy, but because I met many people in the underworld while I was inside. I know people look at them through colored glasses, but they aren't as bad as imagined. Do you understand? I want to be close friends with you. This was an honest statement. As the saying goes, righteousness is found among the commoners, while betrayal is found among the scholars. Because of my past, my words really touched Xu Chunbao. He didn't want this life either. He was forced into it by circumstances. Once you enter the underworld, it's too hard to quit. Xu Chunbao sighed and grabbed a bottle. "I'll call you, brother. Say no more. Everything is in this drink." We drank cup after cup. Perhaps because of my experience, we talked about everything. We got drunk and vented our emotions. In the private room, he even got teary-eyed. I only had one friend back then, and he was killed by others. I watched him fall right in front of me and couldn't do a thing. They say Master Bao is powerful, but I'm terrified every day. Afraid of revenge and afraid of my subordinates turning on me. I'm more tired than anyone. He wiped his eyes. "Enough of that. Brother, it's a cup of bitter tears. Let's drink." I drained my glass and looked at him. "Brother Bao, have you thought about changing your life? Doing some legitimate business and getting back on the right path?" He was stunned and shook his head with a bitter smile. "I don't have the talent. I've tried before, but I always lost money. I'm not cut out for legitimate business. But I have something." My words made him freeze. "Open a pharmaceutical factory. I have a prescription. We'll release a new medicine, and it'll definitely make money." "Prescription? What prescription?" He was interested, eyes wide. I unhurriedly ate some food. "Treatment for cerebral infarction. Stroke." Xu Chunbao was choked. He was half drunk, but this sobered him up instantly. "Brother, don't joke. You really have medicine for that? There's no specific cure on the market right now. If there really is one, it'll make a fortune. I really have it. We can manufacture it. What do you think?" Xu Chunbao was completely sober now and stood up. He sensed a huge business opportunity. If he could make a fortune cleanly, who would want to live a life on the edge? His expression shifted back and forth. "Brother, how do you want to cooperate?" "I provide the prescription, you provide the funds. 50-50 split, how about it?" Xu Chunbao gritted his teeth and slapped the table. "Good! Since you think so highly of me, I can't shamelessly take 50%. A 30-70 split will do." I was stunned. I didn't expect him to be so generous. But Xu Chunbao was no fool. If the prescription was real, plenty of people would invest. If it failed, as the 70% shareholder and legal representative, I would take the responsibility. I didn't expose his calculation. With great power comes great responsibility. We hit it off, and the matter was settled. The next morning, he sent someone to take me to the hospital to treat his mother. The old lady looked healthy and smiled at me. She liked me more and more, especially since I saved her life and was now helping her son go straight. She held my hand and asked if I had a wife. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Then she said, "I really like you as a person." "Thank you, old lady. I want to take you as my godson. What do you think?" I was stunned. Xu Chunbao was also surprised. "Don't you want to? Is it too sudden on my part?" I didn't know whether to laugh or cry, finally realizing what was happening. Back in the day, the ancients loved taking godsons at the drop of a hat, especially Zhu Yuanzhang. It makes sense. When the world was in chaos and heroes were rising, everyone was recruiting talent. If you offer a salary and the other guy offers a salary, how can you guarantee someone will stay loyal and not jump ship or betray you? Naturally, adding a layer of family relation is best. I suspect the old lady taking me as a godson was partly out of affection and partly out of interest. I didn't say another word. I just knelt right there on the floor and kowtowed 3 times, with a loud thud, 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 respectfully calling out, "Godmother." I was a former convict with a poor family background. If I could use this path to climb up, why would I refuse? Old Lady Xu was overjoyed and helped me up, laughing. "Heh, now I have 2 sons. Come here, Xiaofang. This is a little token from your godmother. Take it." She handed me a red envelope. I didn't decline. I took it and politely said, "Thank you, godmother." Xu Chunbao walked over with a smile and punched me in the chest. "Now we really are brothers, little brother. Now about our prescription." Sure enough, after all that fuss, this big brother was just waiting for my medical formula. I nodded. I knew that if I didn't show off my skills, how could anyone believe me? This happened to be a hospital with plenty of patients for an experiment. I went and grabbed a dose of medicine according to the prescription. I found a severe patient in the neurology department, an old woman whose stroke was so bad she was paralyzed and unconscious on the bed, unable to move. Her family members sat by her side dejected, washing their faces with tears. Hearing that this could treat her illness, the family was thrilled, but then they became suspicious. After all, there is no specific cure for cerebral infarction in modern medicine. The old woman was already on her last legs. If she took medicine randomly, she might drop dead. This put me in a bit of a bind. Even if I knew the medicine was fine, how could I treat her if the patient's family wouldn't cooperate? At the critical moment, Xu Chunbao stepped in. He pulled the family aside and chatted for a bit, and when they came back, they agreed. It made my head buzz. But I didn't ask questions. After the old woman swallowed the medicine, everyone sat and waited for results. I wasn't worried. I told them it wasn't a magic pill, and they'd likely need to take it once at noon and once at night to see results. Xu Chunbao was bored, so the two of us just waited there. Back in our ward, I asked him what method he used to get them to agree. Xu Chunbao smiled. I told them that if she isn't cured or if she dies, the whole family is free of the burden, and I'll compensate them with 1 million. Hearing this, I was stunned. I eventually shook my head with a bitter smile. What a heartless society. We waited until that evening. An hour after the last dose was administered, a Biao suddenly pushed open the door and ran in frantically, shouting, "She's awake, Master Bao! The old lady is awake!" Xu Chunbao, who was sitting there with his legs crossed drinking water, visibly trembled. He immediately stood up. "Really awake? Really, truly awake?" "It's true, Master Bao, Master Fang. You two go look." Since I was now Xu Chunbao's sworn brother, my status had changed. Xu Chunbao turned to me and gave me a thumbs up. "Brother, you are truly impressive. Let's go see." I was very calm. This wasn't exactly rare to me. I had plenty of extraordinary things in my hands. The two of us went to the ward and confirmed it with one look. Before, the old woman had been in a deep coma, her breathing rattling through the oxygen mask. Now her eyes were open. Though she couldn't speak and was still paralyzed, she could blink her eyelids. The old woman's family, who had refused to cooperate and demanded 1 million just to try the medicine, had now turned into perfectly filial children. They all ran over and knelt before me, crying and kowtowing like they were pounding garlic. "Thank you, Divine Doctor! Thank you!" If not for your medicine, my mother would likely never have woken up. I smiled and said politely, 3 doses a day from now on. Keep taking it. There will be improvement in a week. In a month, she should be able to speak and move a bit. In half a year, she should be able to walk. "Thank you, Divine Doctor. Thank you. Can we see the prescription?" Just as they reached for it, Xu Chunbao coughed. This thing was a gold mine. How could he just give it away? "We will prepare the medicine for you. Just take it regularly. Don't worry, we won't charge you a cent, since this is a trial and needs long-term observation." Xu Chunbao acted like a big boss. The family was delighted. Where else could you find free treatment like this? When Xu Chunbao and I came out, we ran right into the hospital's primary doctor. He was shouting, "A miracle! This is a miracle! Go hang a banner. Say a severe stroke patient regained consciousness at our hospital." This made Xu Chunbao very unhappy, but he knew that for this medicine to be refined and the company to open and pass inspections for market release, it would take a long time. He dropped it and looked at me, asking with a smile, "Brother, for this company investment, how much do you think is appropriate?" "Big brother, invest as much as you have." My answer nearly made Xu Chunbao choke. "Invest everything? Does Big Brother not trust me or not trust my medicine?" After I said this, Xu Chunbao gritted his teeth. "Fine, I believe you. I'll invest 70 million. I laughed and patted his shoulder. "Brother Bao, trust me. This 70 million will definitely turn into 700 million. "I believe you," Xu Chunbao replied, and immediately went to make arrangements. Pulling together all his cash and using all his connections, he moved very fast. The company was soon registered, and while they searched for production equipment, others went to register the trademark. These things took time, but they weren't for me to worry about. Every day, I traveled between the hospital and home, helping my godmother, Old Lady Xu, with acupuncture and recovery. With a godson to accompany her, her son had more time to be busy. Until one day, Old Lady Xu suddenly suggested finding me a wife. I was embarrassed. I smiled awkwardly and said, "Godmother, I don't have those thoughts right now." "How can that be? A man should marry and a woman should wed. You're not young anymore. It's time to find a wife. Which girl do you have your eye on? I'll speak for you." I was too embarrassed to say anything. "What's wrong? I've been through it all. Heh, I can tell you have someone in mind." "Which family's daughter?" "Godmother, enough. Don't worry about this. Just focus on recovering here." I helped her sit back on the bed. "I'll see you tomorrow." "Fine, fine. You're just like your big brother, always complaining that I'm a nagging old woman. How could I? You're doing it for our own good. By the way, tomorrow I'll brew you a nourishing soup. I guarantee it'll make your complexion rosy and make you look decades younger. People will think you're my sister." Quote, "Heh, you brat, you really know how to talk." I left the hospital. Just as I was about 100 meters from my house, a Porsche 911 stopped there. Bai Xiaotian stood there with his arms crossed, looking at me coldly, as if I owed him millions. I pretended not to see him and walked right past. Bai Xiaotian was stunned and then enraged. She roared, "Hey, didn't you see me here?" "What does it have to do with me?" I replied indifferently. She stomped her foot and ran over. "Do you really not care if my sister lives or dies? She really thinks of you as a friend?" I laughed coldly, not even deigning to answer, and kept walking. Bai Xiaotian was truly at her wit's end. This girl was like a block of ice. Money wouldn't move her, and threats didn't work. She stomped her foot again. "You win! My sister will marry you!" I stopped in my tracks. Bai Xiaotian grit her teeth in hatred, wanting to kick this opportunistic bastard to death. "What did you say?" I asked flatly. "I said you got what you wanted. My family discussed it. As long as you cure my sister, she will marry you immediately." Bai Xiaotian had come with a purpose today. I stood there and curled my lip with disdain. What's that laugh supposed to mean? Bai Xiaotian demanded. "I'm sorry. I won't believe a single punctuation mark your family says anymore. Using someone's life as a threat to force a marriage. I think you've misunderstood something." "What do you mean? I made it very clear last time. Gratitude does not equal marriage. I've thought it through. So please, tell your family to stop bothering me." After saying that, I walked away without looking back. Bai Xiaotian stood there in a daze for a long time, unable to process it. Eventually, her face turned the color of pig liver from rage. She yelled at the top of her lungs, "What do you mean? Are you saying you don't want to marry my sister? Even if she agrees to marry you, you still won't save her?" I didn't answer. I just turned and left.